weren't. We had a lot of technical difficulties to start this call, but
It,
it is a Saturday night, and Saturday night is all right for fighting, which is what we just did.
we did not with each other, which
No,
is
no, just with
no,
technology. A
yeah.
Skynet is coming, folks.
It's funny. So we thought we had one in the bank, so to speak. So we weren't
Yeah.
worried about recording. And then all of a sudden we realized, wait, no, we don't anymore have one in the bank just because
No,
of
we
how we've
must
been
have used it. We
recording.
had to have burned it up or
We
something.
must
But
have at some point. And
yeah,
so Joe's like, are you free? I'm like, no, not today. So
like I
normally,
realized when I saw the Wolverine figure at Kojo's, I was like, "Huh,
oh
we
God.
didn't record today."
Yeah, it's funny. That's about when I realized too. So we were both out and busy all mornings
Yeah.
because neither one of us were thinking about it. So, um, we it's 10 or 9 o'clock at night,
Yes.
Eastern, and yeah. So we have no real. Well, I had an idea what I was going to do if Joe wasn't free tonight,
Okay.
and
Lay
Joe
it on me.
has no idea what this is.
No, none. No.
So we're also going to try and do this in a relatively short time frame too,
Yes. Yes. To be respectful
because
of each other. Yeah.
we're both somewhat tired and got it
What's the phrase you used? Knackered.
knackered. Yeah,
There we go.
absolute
We're we're,
knackered.
we're both knackered. Yeah.
So I was thinking,
Hmm.
all right, so bear with me. I haven't really thought this out myself yet either. Every superhero movie franchise that has three movies,
Okay.
rank them by the worst movie in the franchise.
Ooh, I like that.
So
So there's
there,
Batman,
yeah, so you've
Spider-Man,
got Batman. Well, see,
X-Men.
yeah, Batman's. But now I was thinking the Dark Knight trilogy arguably would be the trilogy to try and
Yeah.
keep it in a trilogy based thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So you would
yeah,
have the Batman Dark Knight trilogy. You'd have the X-Men Bryan Singer trilogy. You'd
yep.
have
The
the Sam
first
Raimi
trilogy.
Spider-Man trilogy.
No, it's not
You
a trilogy.
have you also have the MCU Spider-Man trilogy. You have the Captain America trilogy,
Thor, Iron Man,
Iron Man trilogy, Thor
Ant Man.
trilogy. Ant-Man has yes, Ant-Man has a trilogy,
Yeah,
and Blade has a trilogy.
yeah,
I guess I'm better at this than you because you're like,
yeah.
wait, yeah, there's
Wait,
more and
yeah.
more.
And again, like I had no real plan on any of this, so I was going to
That's
go
fine.
through.
I like it. I like it. So I mean,
So
are we trying to rank them as franchises? Like what franchise is the best, or are we just going by individual trilogies and
I
then we will rank the
I was thinking
franchise?
just the individual trilogy. So that
Okay.
way you can have like Ant Man stands alone.
Yeah. So you want to
And
start with Dark Knight trilogy?
yeah, I mean for me, Dark Knight trilogy was always going to be the top, right? Because
I
I
would.
think I think Dark Knight Rises is the weakest in the of the bunch.
That's yeah. Okay.
But and then when I say of the bunch, I mean of that specific trilogy.
Yeah.
However, I still think as a whole, The Dark Knight Rises is better than any of the other weaker trilogies that we've got. Um,
Okay, that's fair enough. I would say the
so,
best trilogy, though, in all honesty, as far as I'm concerned, is the Captain America trilogy.
oh, but then you've also got this the Spider-Man. Yeah,
Oh
I
shit, you got Spider-Man No Way
see.
Home. Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that we really should have sat down and thought about because this is the thought process that we have. Um,
It's
all right,
just
so
dogs chasing cars.
rather than going through the entire list because we're going to forget them, why not uh just do our top five?
All right, yeah. Let's start with the first trilogy you want to discuss, though.
So okay, so we all right. So I'm not going to talk about the Dark Knight trilogy because we've done that quite a lot on the show already.
Okay, that's fine.
Um, so I don't remember even what the parameters were anymore. It made sense at the time, isn't it?
Your
Rank it.
idea.
I know, and it's one of those things that makes sense. Yeah, well, rank it by the worst movie. So
Let's
how
start with the
that?
Sam Raimi trilogy. Let's go with Sam Raimi
Yeah.
Spider-Man trilogy. Okay,
So we're obviously going to be the weakest movie of the bunch is Spider-Man 3,
absolutely,
and
unequivocally.
I I often wonder. Obviously, Spider-Man 2 is a fucking masterpiece. There's
Spider-Man
no
2 is the pinnacle for superhero movies up until the modern day, as far as I'm concerned.
I I would even go as
I
far
even
as to
still think
say
it ranks up there.
I
Yeah.
was going to say this. I think that we're going to end up, and hey, maybe this is something that we can grab someone
Three,
on.
one, two.
yeah, like have I feel like this topic is just gonna we've already tangented so far away.
It's okay though. This is perfect for a Saturday night. So
It's also
so
it's a
we'll
very
we'll
low
we'll,
geek show.
we'll rank our rankings and give our thoughts. Like obviously we're not going to agree on everything. That's going to be the fun part.
I know the best part is that I have no idea what I'm doing, and this is my idea.
This is
And
great.
yeah,
Spider-Man 3 is definitely the worst, and it's the worst only because it was a studio mandate. Like
I
it
agreed.
had the idea. Sam Raimi is such a Steve Ditko, Stan Lee purist
Yeah.
that like he just wanted to stick to the basics, and it showed how much love he had. He had the Green Goblin, he had Doctor Octopus, which is still a masterpiece. Thank you to Alfred Molina. He was so brilliant in
Hmm.
that movie. Um, Thomas Hayden Church was great as Sandman. He was a
I
wonderful pick as
agree.
Flint
I
Marko.
agree.
But then when you shoehorn Venom and Harry Osborn as like a pseudo secondary Green Goblin, the movie gets really dicey. I will say this though. It is a very big guilty pleasure that I watched this movie. And I've watched
See,
it
and
multiple times.
I think that's key is that as bad as the movie quote,
Yes.
as bad as the movie is,
Has such redeeming parts.
it's got redeeming qualities. Like at the end of the day, Tobey Maguire is still really good
Oh,
as Peter Parker, and the
let's throw
scenes
some
in this
dirt in
where
your eye,
he's
Brock.
being so so this is me as a badass sort of thing.
Oh God.
It's so cringe inducing, and I
Oh, it's
think that's
great.
the entire point.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's one of those things where the more you watch it, the more like, there's a lot more redeeming features about Spider-Man 3 than
I think he meant for Toby to be Peter in the 60s, like in
yeah.
the Ditko era. Like even like the women would be like, "Oh my God, you're horrible!" Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just that like aghast grabbing your pearls type of thing, and it
Yeah.
just didn't work in the 90s. Well, the 2000s, but it looked like the
Yeah.
movies were set in the 90s, I believe. But but Tobey Maguire, when he's like doing the hair flip and he's like, "I'm gonna throw some dirt in your eye, Brock." But I have to say, probably one of my favorite scenes in that whole freaking movie, besides, oh, Goblin Jr. Gonna cry now? Like that one's great. And
Hmm.
then when he's having the neighbor girl make him cookies is one of my favorite things ever. And
It's
she's like,
so
I could go get
bad.
I could go get you some milk. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Go do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then he sits on Jonah's desk and he's eating the candy and he's like put his feet up on it. And Jonah looks down. Jonah looks up. Jonah looks down. Jonah looks up. Like it's just first of all, what's his name? What's his name now? I can't remember his name. But the actor who plays J. Jonah Jameson is
Oh, J.K.
so
Simmons. J.K.
J.K.
Simmons.
Simmons is
Yeah.
so freaking brilliant in that trilogy. Like he's so good. Like even down to like the point where like at the final battle with Sandman and Venom and everything, he's like, Parker, where is anybody? He's like, hey kid, you want to make some money? What? I got a camera. I'll give you $100 for it. No. How about 200? He's like, no way. That's highway robbery. And then he like looks up and all of a sudden he sees all the action. He's like, just give me your camera. Like he's so Jonah. It hurts.
Yeah.
It's so good. But like you said, that movie's really bad. It's cringe. It's not, it's 2.5 parts of a wonderful movie. Like the
I would
parts that,
agree with that.
yeah,
So, and I'm assuming you're like 2.5 out of 3 parts of a wonderful movie, and the one part that
Venom.
really isn't is
Venom.
what really drags it down.
Yeah, it's just Eddie Brock as Topher Grace did no acting as Eddie Brock. He was
I
Eric Foreman as Venom, and I hated it
I
every
I
second.
I and I think that's the case. Is that again? Like I think you hit the nail on the head when you said Peter Parker was the 60s Peter Parker. I think
Yeah,
that's not far off what Topher Grace was trying to go for
yeah,
with
absolutely.
Venom.
Yeah,
And it not only did it not work, but then you also leave us with a character that people have been wanting to see in live action for ever
yeah,
since Spider-Man 1 came out. Like, oh,
yep,
We need Venom. Only to have it rushed as it was and
right.
just I mean, look at Tom Hardy's Venom.
Oh God, I'd
It's
rather
not
not.
yeah, right, but it's not the most faithful.
Yeah.
The movies aren't the best,
I did
and
like the first one. I will be
yeah,
honest with you. The first one's watchable.
and yet Tom Hardy as Venom, I really enjoy. I really enjoy
Yeah,
Tom
I
Hardy
agree.
as Venom. I can take or leave the movies, and I think unfortunately, like if you'd have had Tom Hardy as Venom in this movie, I
Yeah.
mean, I know obviously it was made 20 years before he would
Oh,
have
it would have been so much better.
like
Absolutely.
right. So you could make Spider-Man 3 so much better so
Yeah.
quickly.
But you know what it was? It's very clear that Raimi hated Venom.
Agreed.
He really abhorred
Ray
the fact that
Raimi,
Venom
yeah.
was being put in there, and
I love
so
the
he
fact
just
that we
shoehorned
started
it.
this off like we're going to disagree on this, and we haven't yet.
No, but like
Okay.
if you look at what the layout was for Spider-Man 4 with John Malkovich playing Adrian Toomes the Vulture and the storyboards, oh my god, that looked like it was going to be a great movie.
Hmm.
It really looked like a
And
great
then we would
movie.
have been having conversations about the best quadrilogies instead of trilogies.
Quadrilogy, I like that.
I like that
Yeah,
word.
I mean this movie it had good points. There's cringe-inducing parts though.
Yes.
Like as much as I absolutely adore James Franco as Harry Osborn, I think he's a great Harry Osborn.
Yep.
I hated him and MJ making eggs for no fucking reason in the middle of the movie. It broke up the movie in the worst way. And they're just dancing the jumpy checker, doing the twist. And it's just like, you could have cut this out. You literally could have cut this out. This is 3 minutes of my movie that I don't get back. And
Yep.
I hated it. I hated it so. I hated Mary Jane in the movie. Now, I don't hate Kirsten Dunst as an actress. I think she's a wonderful actress. Do I think she should have ever played Mary Jane? No. And
Do you
it's
know what?
gonna.
I really enjoyed her as Mary Jane in
I
Spider-Man
hated
2,
her as Mary Jane.
Spider-Man 1. I thought she was decent as Mary Jane. However, I think that as it went on, you could tell that her interest, like she wanted to do something different.
Yeah,
And probably between that and then Raimi not really giving a shit, he's not pushing her for a
yeah,
good performance. So I think, again, everything about this movie that sucked was entirely due to studio. Uh,
yeah. But let's face it, Mary Jane is a drop dead knockout who holds her own on the level of Peter Parker. She's not a damsel in distress.
mm-mm.
She's a badass. She's a big cannoned badass from the 90s. And I hate to put it that way, but like they should have been picking a drop dead knockout. They just should have been. It's just she didn't fit the role. Like Bryce Dallas Howard, who played Gwen in the third movie, would have been
Yeah,
a perfect Mary Jane. She was so good. She was a normal, I mean, a natural redhead too. Like
that's
she was
hilarious.
perfect. She was perfect. But I liked her as Gwen as well. I hated the whole subplot. Like I didn't like what they did to Toby in the movie. Besides the big bad dance number, I hated it was as cringe as Superman Returns. Like Brandon
Mm.
Routh in
Hmm.
Superman Returns spying on Lois Lane at night is something Superman would never morally do. It's just disgusting. So
So I
yeah,
think we can shift on from this one soon,
we
but
will. But so like my
I
point
think
is,
that oh no, so my I think because what I was going to tangent into Superman Returns, I think the biggest issue with that is that Superman has and always will be considered the good guy,
yes,
and
he's
so many
virtuous.
people think he's boring because of that,
Yeah,
and yet I think it's the exact opposite.
I do too.
I think that's what makes him so fascinating. And if
Yes,
you can't come up with a good story around that, that's
that's the
the issue.
challenge.
And
That's the challenge.
it's not easy to do. Like I'm not saying that I
I
could
know.
do it because
I think I
it's
could. I think you
I
could. I think
I
I
think
could. True.
all right. So realistically, I probably could, but
Yeah,
it's
you could.
is the story going to do well as a movie? Again,
Yeah.
probably, but it's not going to necessarily be the action packed Superman film that you're looking for. It's going to be something entirely different, probably more in the vein of like taking more elements from Zack Snyder's Superman of him having his moral dilemmas of
Yeah.
how do I save everyone.
The bottom line is the way I look at Superman. And wow, did we tangent? We're only on
I
the first
told you I was
movie,
going to
but we're gonna
tangent.
speed round this after.
Yeah,
Um, I look at Superman as a pure Norman Rockwell painting. He's a dad. He's dad jokes. He's purity. He's goofiness. He's a man out of time. He's the guy that does the right thing all the time, even when the wrong thing's easier. He's just he's a PSA moment come to life,
hmm
and he lives by that. That's how you do Superman. The best version of Superman that I've seen on screen so far, as far as look wise, is Henry Cavill. As far as purity, I think Christopher Reeve in a big screen
Hmm.
portion. But I gotta say Tyler Hoechlin
I was gonna
plays
say Tyler
Superman.
Hope. Yeah,
He plays him perfect.
Christopher
Perfect.
Reeve and Tyler Hoechlin are brilliant representations of
Yes.
Superman, and I
Yes.
think that for me, Christopher Reeve will always take it because he really did
Yeah.
emphasize just how good
Yeah.
that kind of movie can be and how well a good actor can take that. So,
And
um,
I didn't like what the point I was trying to make with the parallel of the
oh yeah,
Superman
yeah,
spying was I hated the scene where Peter kisses Gwen when he's getting the key of the city. And like he pulls up on his mask and she's like,
yes,
"Oh, hi." And he goes, "Lay one on me. They'll love it." Peter Parker is a devoted lover,
he
family man, this and that. He would never ever do that. And
he
that
would have
was like,
said at best, kiss the side of the mask or something.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. He
that's
would have never done that to Mary Jane watching.
no.
So like that, the whole thing was out of character. And like I said, I just think Raimi was like, I don't care what happens,
I
whatever.
think the only way it would have been in character is if he'd already had the black suit by that point.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we agree Spider-Man 3 is the worst. Spider-Man 1 is the second, and Spider-Man 1, it's tough. It doesn't rival Spider-Man 2 because that should explain how masterful Spider-Man 2 is.
Hmm.
But it's so good. I watch
It,
Spider-Man 1
I
all
mean,
the
the
time when it's
the thing
on.
is, Spider-Man One is the issue with it isn't that it's a bad movie. It
No.
is that it's realistically, and I think X-Men has the same issue. It's the first real
Yeah.
Spider-Man movie that people have seen in a long time that wasn't the kitschy cartoon, well, not the cartoon, the
Yeah.
kitschy live action show, the
Oh
cartoon.
god, yeah, Nicholas
Do you know
Hammond.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it
Yeah.
was a really good movie, and you had it at the end with him swinging through the city, and people are just like, I just want more of this. I just need to see him swing. That's all I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. 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 But they
And
had to do the origin story and they did it very, very
yep.
well. I just
Oh, 100%. Like I have no issues with it. Yes, it's a product of the time, but
yeah.
it still holds up, and in fact, it's better than almost every movie on this list that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah,
In
Willem Dafoe is masterful
yeah,
in this movie.
there's a
The
reason William
mirror
Dafoe
scene
came
is
back.
the best scene of that entire movie.
Hmm.
Did it
It's
all for
like
you,
well,
Norman.
it's
Like,
a
oh,
deliberate parallel to the Christopher Reeve scene that we've spoken about
yeah,
so often, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, so
Spider-Man
given
2 is perfect. It's near
yeah,
perfect. It's a 9.9.999. It's just there's something slightly off
right.
about it.
So
I do put it
I
above No Way Home.
here's a question for you before you
Yeah,
go into that, because I feel like the ranking Spider-Man movies is probably going to be our next big thing that we can do, or
yeah.
one of the many next things we can do. Um, how would you change Spider-Man 2 to make it a 10 out of 10? Like, how would you change it to make it better?
I don't think I have the answer for that. I know it's missing something, but it's very difficult because Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus was perfect. Like they got the horror port down. Like
Hmm.
I love how Raimi took from classic Ditko and classic Stan Lee, but he clearly took from the Ultimate Comics at that time because he gave Doc Ock a very sinister
Yep.
undertaking, and the arms he got that from the Ultimate series where he was Doc Ock was manipulated by the arms. And like he took that and that scene where he's just lying in the morgue where they think he's dead and he's just flailing around killing all the the doctors and whatever. And then he just wanders off. It's just so good. And Alfred Molina is a brilliant actor anyway. He's in a movie that my dad showed me years ago called Not Without My Daughter.
Hmm.
And he's so sinister in that movie and he's just so good. He was in Fargo. Like he's just a really great actor, and Tobey Maguire doesn't get credit for how damn good he is. I mean, he was in
No,
Cider House Rules. He's a great actor. Like he's
he
one of
is.
my
He really
favorites.
is. He's
Yeah.
like seeing him in Two Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, and Jake
Like,
Gyllenhaal is one of my second favorite actors.
yeah, like that movie, like Tobey Maguire and like me, I was
Brothers is a
genuinely
tough movie.
afraid of him, right?
Yeah,
Like
Brothers is a tough movie.
yeah, well, it is. It really is.
It's
Um,
so good. But yeah, I don't know what I would do for Spider-Man 2. I think what I
it,
wanted, I think at the end of it, it was weird. I read into it when Mary Jane, there's a brilliant shot thematically. It's probably my favorite shot where she, like, after Doc Ock and all everything is subsided, and she's in his apartment, and it's been revealed that he's Spider-Man, and she runs away from the wedding, and
mm,
she comes to his door, and she's like, I'm here standing in your doorway, and I've always been standing in your doorway. And he looks at her, and the scanner goes off, the police scanner, and she goes, go get him, Tiger. There's this like
mm,
cinematic shot where he swings off,
yeah.
but you see his lens or something in the distance. And I remember when this movie first came out, and this was on like our online forums, people were speculating there was like an orange tint, so it meant the Hobgoblin was coming. I
I
would have
remember
loved
that.
it. I
I do. You
I
know
would
what?
love what.
I actually think the only thing I would realistically change about this movie, it had nothing to do with any of that. It would be, and this is just because I want to see more Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Okay.
Earlier in the film, have him interact more with generic villains, like
Okay.
muggers. That, and again, that's the only thing I could realistically change. But for me, I still don't think, I don't know if that would make it any better. I genuinely don't
Yeah,
think
the
there's anything.
movie's virtually perfect. It's virtually
Yeah,
perfect.
like if there's anything to change, I think it would have to be something so fundamental that it would change the entire movie,
Mhm.
and it's not worth doing it. Like
No.
I can't pick out, and it's been a while since I've seen it, so maybe if I rewatch it again, it's like I can't pick out any actual flaw in this movie, given that it's
That's
clearly
good
like
homework for us.
yeah. I've kind of long given up on this on the topic that we actually had.
No, no, we're doing it. We're doing it. I really am digging it. You're going to be on for a little bit.
Yeah,
We're going to move faster, but we're going to be on. We're going to at least cover a few franchises.
yeah. The thing
I
is, this is going to be part one, I think, of it, if
okay.
of anything.
I would love that Harry Osborn went and was the Hobgoblin. I
Mm.
would have loved to have seen him dye the suit or come up with a new suit. And I think that that should have been set. That would have made the movie. I mean, I don't know if it would have made it a 10. I mean, honestly, I think I'm just nitpicking, so it's not
I
perfect.
well,
It
that's
might be
just it. Like
virtually perfect.
the thing is that today, if it was made today, the exact same movie, what you would have had at the end is after Spider-Man does this thing,
You'd
change
have an end
nothing
credit
about the
scene.
movie. You'd have the end credit scene. It would be Harry
Yeah.
Osborn picking up an
Yeah.
orange mask, right? Like it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Harry
Yeah.
Osborn would be looking at an orange suit or something.
Yeah.
That's what you would have today. Is it would be like, oh, we're getting this next time, and then you wouldn't need Venom, or you could have like,
No. And that's the thing. It should have been Harry and Sandman.
yeah,
And it should have been Harry and Sandman the whole way. It was so. We're back to Spider-Man 3, but the abrupt reveal that the butler knew everything the whole time and never told Harry, and Harry just with a melted face was like, "Oh man, I gotta go save my friend now." No, like, it just makes no sense.
it,
It was just so bad. And then the corny dialogue, "Hey Pete, can I jump in?" Like, dude, this guy just burnt. He melted your face.
I
Like,
there's so much about
it's just
that.
bad.
Yeah, like it's again, there's a lot of good
But
stuff to it.
yeah, Spider-Man 2 is perfect
Yeah,
almost, and I love it. And that's everybody's acting. Aunt May was the best in that movie too.
yeah.
Like there's just oh god. The bank scene is one of my favorite cinematic superhero scenes of all time. I just love that bank scene. And then when he's like, "You want her? Come get her." And he's like, "Come on, come on, come on." And he's got like the pointy tentacle, and all of a sudden she's like, oh, shame on you. And she hits him with the purse and like makes him miss his mark. But like just so many that and yeah, he just only Alfred Molina in the train at the end with all the New Yorkers, like the overabundance of the New York accent. Hey man, you want to go through him? You're gonna have to go through us. You're gonna have to go all through us.
It
Doc Ock doesn't even break a sweat. He goes, very well. He just pushes everyone to the side.
Oh,
It's
it was
just
brilliant. I
oh
like that's the kind of thing, like I like that callback in the Amazing Spider-Man where
yeah.
almost right away you
Yeah.
see he's saving a kid off a bridge and the lizard's going for him,
Yes, yes, yes.
and Thomas Hayden. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, not Thomas Hayden. I know who you're talking about, but
yeah,
they're throwing bottles at the lizard,
Like,
and they're like, "Hey, pal, you mess with him, you gotta mess with all of us."
yeah,
And
like I
you're like,
love how New York almost immediately adopt him. I thought it was
yeah.
brilliant.
So
Like I
Spider-Man, that's an easy franchise.
yeah.
Let's go with a different one. Let's go with a tough one. Let's go with Blade.
Well, that's not tough though, is it? Because other like obviously Blade trilogy, Blade
Worst.
Trinity. I can't even say the word. Trinity is the worst.
Garbage. Garbage.
I I I don't know which I
Like,
haven't. So the thing is, I haven't seen these in so long. I think Blade 2 I preferred over Blade 1.
I think you can rank them like for me, this series, Blade, goes 3-2-1. I, I mean 1-2-3 being from worst to
Yeah,
best, 3-2-1.
and
Blade 1 is the best by far.
the only reason I'm picking Blade 2 first is because he fucking suplexes a vampire.
Yeah.
Like
But
he does a full suplex to the vampire, and I got a kick out of that. So I mean I
Blade
wouldn't
1 had no right to be as good as it was.
I would agree with that. I would
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with your reasoning for of 1 2 3. Um, I went again 2 1 3 purely because
Yeah, it's fine.
I enjoyed his suplex. Um, I haven't seen this in so long, so I don't really have much to talk about for it.
All right, that's fine. I mean, Blade, Wesley Snipes was great.
Yeah,
What's his name? Christopherson, who played Whistler, was awesome.
Chris Christopher. Yeah, yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Christopherson was great. Ryan Reynolds is one of my favorite actors of all time. He was so bad in Blade 3,
Do
and
you,
Triple H was even worse.
I actually think Ryan Reynolds is. You're gonna hate me for this.
Redeemable?
I don't think Ryan Reynolds has played a different character in any movie he's been in.
No. He's always
And
Van Wilder.
I think that as Hannibal, he's no different than he is as Deadpool. And it
Correct.
just it didn't work for that character.
No,
However, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool works so well. Like that
he's
is
perfect.
he's yeah, he's playing Deadpool as Van Wilder and it works so well.
It's amazing. Yeah. What I think is I appreciate Blade Trinity for teaching me vernacular that I never had in my English language. When he says cock juggling thunder cunt, I used thunder cunt in my regular verbiage for years, like when I was pissed off.
It's such a good
Oh, it's
word.
amazing. And like Blade, the movies now, if Blade was done now, and unfortunately we heard that Mahershala Ali ducked out, like it's no longer being made,
Oh,
which
I
really
didn't know
sucked.
he
Yeah,
had ducked out and it's just not being made
it's
now.
done. The project's been shelved, and that sucks because
Yeah.
Blade is a great prod. I think it will be picked up again with the success of Blood Hunt. Shows that Blade is still very
Yeah.
viable IP.
I the thing is though is that I think that Disney have made the choice to not do as many movies and IPs because
Yes,
that I think after with Phase 4 they shut the bed in doing
they
the
did.
exact opposite of what they should have done, which
Yep.
is almost start from scratch again. And
Yep.
so what they did, given that we knew that there would be a big bad in Phase 6 that they would all have to face, Phase 4 had no overarching story. There was nothing
No,
to tie anything
nothing that ties
together.
together. Yeah.
And you had Black Widow as part of Phase 4, which made no sense.
None. It should have been
Should have been
part of
a
three. Yeah.
you could have even had a now that Black Widow's gone, like just
Yeah.
lump it in
Yeah.
with Phase 3 as a this is what had happened.
Yeah. I mean, and then people can blame it on Jonathan Majors all they want. It has nothing to do with Jonathan
No,
Majors.
because it think that it had shat the bed before him. Like, but by the time
Yes.
Loki came along, you already have no idea. Well, what does Falcon and Winter Soldier have to do with Scarlet
Yeah.
Witch, Vision,
Exactly.
and Scarlet Witch, and
Yep.
then also Loki? Like,
Correct.
right? Like, there was just no underlying thread. At least with the Phase 1, right? So clearly the Avengers are coming together.
Yep.
Phase 2 is like even Phase 2. It's like now we're seeing the second generation of Avengers, and then Phase 3 is everything now comes together at the end. Like, but
Yeah.
in the background, you've had Thanos hinted around right from the beginning.
Right.
Phase 4, it feels like just a mishmash of everything. They're throwing stuff at the wall. They finally find
Yeah.
something that works, and then something out of their control happens with that.
I think they were also trying to keep, but even though it wasn't budgetary friendly, I mean, as budgetary friendly as they could during COVID. I
Mm.
think that's what Phase Four was. It was a triage project, and some stuff in Phase Four I absolutely adore.
I
Like
really liked
I
Moon Knight. I thought
love
Moon Knight was really good.
Moon Knight was very good up till the end. I love WandaVision so
Yep.
very much. And I obviously adore No Way Home. Like those are incredible movies, incredible shows. But they failed on so many other levels. I really think they've got no choice at this point. Just scrap Kang, because I'm getting very sick of the daily clickbait videos of Kang is going to be the big bad in the MCU. No, Doctor Doom is going to be the big bad. No, Kang is going to be. Every day it just swaps back and
It
forth from
you almost really need to start fresh from Phase 5
yeah,
if you're bringing in Fantastic Four and the
yeah.
X-Men. Like
I agree.
you can tell an entirely new story. By the time
Yeah.
that's done, then you can revisit the Avengers, or have like Sam
I
Wilson as
think
Captain
that's what
America.
Deadpool is. I think it's a cleanup project.
I think you're probably right.
It's basically what Days of Future Past was to the X-Men
Yeah,
franchise.
I can see that.
So, but
Um.
next trilogy you pick.
Oh
We'll do
God,
two more. Two more
two more.
trilogies.
Thor.
Okay, wow, I didn't expect that one. All right. For
So
me, this is pretty easy.
okay.
This is three. I mean, no, I'm sorry. For being the best, this is one. You're gonna hate this. This is two, and three is the best.
You think three is the best of is the best?
Of Thor,
Yeah.
Ragnarok, by far.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure I had your order correct.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no. It goes Thor Ragnarok, then it goes the Dark
do you know
World.
why I picked Thor?
Why?
Because I was sure we were gonna have an argument or sorry,
Are
a
we in
heat
agreement?
Yeah.
I like the Dark World. Everyone
I
shits the fuck on it. I liked it.
I Thor and Loki in a Dark World is what redeems it. It is not a
Hmm.
bad movie anyway. I think it's
No,
better than Thor. Um,
it is Thor's cookie cutter.
Thor's cookie cutter. It's good for what it is. It introduces a character.
Yes,
There's not a huge amount of rewatchability when it compares to the Dark World. Like you
correct.
get
I
Thor
like
versus
Malekith.
Malekith.
I like
I thought it was good.
the visual Malekith. I like the whole thing of the
Like
portals opening up. I liked
I
how Kat
I love
Dennings got into it more. I
yeah, like
liked it.
I love Loki as the I'm not really a villain. I'm not really a hero.
That scene where he stabs him.
Yeah,
I love that
like it
scene.
like Loki is what makes that movie 100%. So
When his
okay,
mother dies is amazing.
yeah.
When Frigga dies and Loki, I want to see you as you are, brother. And then you see Loki without the facade, and he's just
Yeah.
disheveled and broken. Just oh, God, Tom Hiddleston is so good, and I
Mhm.
loved Loki season 1 and 2.
Agreed.
I did, yeah. So
Agreed. All right,
but
so
Thor Ragnarok was
oh
like this psychedelic
it
trip through the Marvel
oh
universe.
shit, I get hang
Wow.
you know how we said we were doing trilogies? Thor Ragnarok has Love and Thunder.
You're right. Never mind. Let's
All
scrap
right,
that.
so
Let's
okay.
go Iron Man,
Um
and then
one
we'll end with a really good one. But
okay.
Iron Man. Let's go Iron Man. All right.
So
So
Iron Man is 132.
So you
One
think
being the
one
best.
oh one is the best. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I will agree with one is the best. Wow, you put two under
I
three.
I
Here we go. Let's go.
okay. So we agree one is the best. So for me,
100%.
two is okay. And it does
It
the
is okay.
demon in a bottle storyline handles that really well.
Yeah, it does. That part's great.
What what takes it down for me is at the end it just feels so like they dropped the ball somehow. Like
They
Justin
just rushed.
Hammer, yeah, like just the way they have those or those the mechanical suits come in and they're just fighting bing bang. I only marginally dislike that more than Iron Man using up every single one of his suits versus
Hmm.
what's his face at the end.
Oh God, Kilgrave. Yeah.
Yeah, Kilgrave. I only marginally hate that more.
Okay. I agree. I was very disappointed with Mickey Rourke in this movie, and I love Mickey Rourke,
Yeah.
especially after The Wrestler. He put on the performance of a
Mhm.
lifetime in The Wrestler prior to this.
I don't think again, this is a case of a great
It's not his
actor.
fault.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like a great
I
actor
just
is given less than a great thing. So
I don't think this is what Whiplash was, though. They gave Whiplash this Soviet Russian backstory, and Whiplash
they
isn't that.
they kind of combined Whiplash and the Crimson Dynamo.
Yes,
Is how I interpreted that, and it just
that's
didn't.
how it is. I agree.
Yeah, just didn't really work. So I I think honestly, Iron Man 1 is leaps and bounds ahead of it, like for
Jeff
everything they
Bridges is
did.
so good.
Yeah, everything Iron Man 1,
Tony, you
right?
did
Like,
such a. Oh God, he's so good.
Tony Stark built this in a
In a
cave,
cave with scraps.
right?
But I just love, and
And
he's
then
like,
like Iron Man 2 and 3 just fall off a cliff. And honestly,
they do.
they're very comparable. I prefer 3 purely because you see Tony coming back from nothing almost, and he's bringing himself back up. He goes,
Thought that
deals
was
with his
cool.
PTSD. He
Yeah,
saves everyone with like a suit. He's doing the calculations, and
yeah,
you see classic Tony again.
yeah.
And
I
then
agree.
the big fight at the end is like, I just it doesn't have to be Iron Man using up every single suit, because
I
then
know and they all like fall apart when they're touched gingerly.
yeah,
That drove me
like
crazy.
the only reason I prefer that movie over Iron Man 2 is Tony's journey in the beginning. I dislike the finale. I
Mhm.
dislike the finale in Iron Man 2 as well.
Okay.
Like I don't watch those movies if I ever have a chance.
I'm
If
gonna
I
say, well, when I do rewatching of the Marvel universe, I kind of skim through.
yeah,
Um, I will say that Iron Man 1 is one of my favorite movies, period, for superheroes, because it had no right to be as good as it was. It was Iron Man. Iron Man was C-list at best before this
mhm,
movie,
agreed.
and Robert Downey Jr. not only did a career renaissance on himself, but he did a career renaissance on superhero movies. He brought back the
Yes.
modern superhero movie. I saw this movie 4 times in the theater. I was so enamored with this movie. Like, it was just so brilliant. My dad adored this movie. Everything about it. Obadiah Stane was a great villain with the
Mhm.
Ironmonger. Jeff Bridges is a great actor, period. But like, I was so used to him as the Big Lebowski that it really just threw me off how good and menacing he was in
Yeah,
this. And I thought the dude with the 10 rings in the cave, he was the bald guy with the tattoo. I thought that was going to be our Mandarin.
I agree.
And I'll be honest, I think he would have been Ben Kingsley's brilliant. I love Ben Kingsley.
I really enjoyed what they did with Ben Kingsley.
I
I
hated
thought
it.
that was
That's why Iron Man
fantastic.
3 is so much at the bottom of
Um,
my list out of pure salt. I fucking
that again, that's totally
hate
for
it.
like I understand it. I thought it was hilarious because you're such a brilliant troll on us as an audience.
It was a troll,
How,
but I hated it.
however, I understand why people were so angry with it.
Oh my god, I
So
was furious with that reveal. I'm Trevor Slattery. I am the
yeah,
Mandarin. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, he's like, and so forth, and bing bang boom. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, because I did enjoy Tony's fall from grace and coming back. Like
yes,
visually at the beginning of the movie, when his Malibu beach, like his Malibu house is being destroyed, that is such a stunning visual as it collapses into the ocean and he saves Pepper and everything. And then I hate kids in movies. So like the kid drove me nuts with the potato gun and all that. I just wanted that kid to be shot.
yeah.
But
I
you
really
know,
enjoyed the callback to that kid in Endgame.
Endgame, yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Um, I think ironically the best part about Iron Man is that other than Iron Man 1, Robert Downey Jr.'s best performances as Iron Man did not come in an Iron Man movie. I
No.
think after Iron Man 1, he really works better as support in Avengers,
Yeah.
like the Spider-Man movies. Like,
Well, I remember when he did Hulk, when he
yeah,
did the cut scene in the Hulk and he talked to General Ross. And that Hulk, yeah, I do like. Now we're tangenting again. I
again,
do like um what's his name? God, Ruffalo, Mark
yeah,
Ruffalo as the Hulk and Bruce Banner. I do, but I thoroughly enjoyed Edward
I
Norton as
agree.
in this too. I
It's
really
one of
loved
those
him.
things where I don't. I'm not mad or upset that we had Mark Ruffalo as Hulk. I think he's
No,
brilliant.
same. He fits the
I
dorky
would,
part.
yeah, I would have just loved to have seen what Ed Norton would have done
Oh
with more.
man.
However, I wonder if they didn't want him back because he wanted more creative
Oh, he
control.
wanted way more creative control and way more money.
Yeah,
And I loved her as Betty Ross. Liv
yeah,
Tyler was a great Betty
yeah.
Ross. I thought she was good. Jennifer Connelly was a good Betty Ross too, and I hope we see Betty Ross again in the MCU.
I didn't. I
Iron Man
forgot
one
we even
though.
saw.
Iron Man
Yeah,
one, you will never have everything we have without Iron Man one.
no, exactly.
And Iron Man one will always be remembered for me, not only because it was such a good movie,
Yeah,
but when
I.
I started to get up and walk out of the theater because
Hmm.
credit scenes weren't a thing, and then you saw Samuel L. Jackson come in.
So
He's like, I want
here's
to
a
talk to you about the Avengers, and I almost shit myself.
here's another idea that we could do going forward. We need to write these down somewhere. Um, Instead of doing our favorite superhero movies or comic book movies, the most impactful movies in
That would be a great one.
because that's because like our favorite movies we've done ad
Yeah,
nauseum, but
yeah.
this will give us a chance to talk about other stuff. So
All right,
all
let's
right,
end with a really good. Let's end with
go on then.
Captain America. I'm
Fuck.
very, very curious for you. This one, I've had this in the can. This is easy for me.
Okay.
You want me to go?
No, because you already have your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier is the best of the three.
100%.
Uh, I want to say Captain America, the first Avenger, and then Civil War.
Okay, I disagree. I'm
However,
gonna go
I'm
3-2-1. It's the
and
best. Three is the best. Two is the second. No, I'm sorry. 2-3-1 is
two,
my
three,
my
one.
order.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I could flip a coin on Civil War and the other one, and the only reason I'm putting Captain America one above Civil War is effectively Avengers 2.5.
Okay, it is, but it's still branded a Captain
I
America
I
movie.
again I love the movie. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I
However,
do
I
too.
when I talk about it, I usually forget that it's a Captain America movie.
Yeah,
It's
because there's so
right.
much. It introduced Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um.
Captain America: The First Avenger is very good,
Again, like
but the Red Skull's
every
underwhelming.
yeah.
He's
I was
super
gonna say
underwhelming.
everything you said about Iron Man, you can say to a lesser degree about
Mm-hmm.
the first Avenger. It
Mm-hmm.
made Captain America a figure who, pun not intended, a character who realistically for someone a British kid who didn't really it's like Captain America. Well, he's going to be very American. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I don't really. I'm not really going to look for his comics specifically. Um, Likewise, I also didn't specifically read Captain Britain because it just
Mm-hmm.
didn't. It seems like I don't really want to read a rah rah patriotic kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, right or wrong as that was growing up. Now, after that movie, I was like, my God, I've missed out on some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you dig into it a bit more, but I think that it really goes to highlight that Steve Rogers he's not loyal to America to a fault. He's loyal to
No.
the idea of what America could be. And I think that's what's more interesting.
Yes.
And you can really explore that as the movie goes on because
Yeah.
he is far from a government puppet. Far from a
Right.
government puppet. He's the embodiment of the big guy standing up for the little guy because he was the little guy.
He's Marvel's
And
Superman.
100%,
It's the
100%.
same problems you have with writing Superman are the same problems you'll run into with a good Captain America story.
Yep.
The
Except
only time people seem to write a good Captain America is when they turn Captain America bad.
I know, and or they have him going against like he's
The
looking for
Winter
something.
Soldier, obviously,
Yeah,
is a
like
brilliant
I can
concept.
say he's looking for something more personal in it
Mm-hmm.
because like we said like when people say oh Captain America like he's not a street level I'm going to stop a bank robbery because
No,
he's the ironic thing is he's not
he
that
will though.
much he will he's actually I think he's not that much more powerful than Spider-Man and I would if you put them side by side I would argue that in theory
Spider Man's more
Spider-Man should
powerful.
Spider-Man should win 9 times out of 10 out of every fight but
Yeah,
he
he's got
won.
agility, he's got speed, he's got precognition, he's
But
got, strength
but like Captain
proportionately.
America is Captain America, and he will find a way to win without actually hurt.
Batman and Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, like but it's not a. I've never felt Cap is overpowered. Like he can be beaten,
No.
and I think that's what's so interesting. It's not like, oh, they're gonna go against Batman. He might get beaten down for a bit, but he's gonna actually end up winning because it's
Yeah.
Batman and prep time. Whereas Cap's like, if he wins, it's more because
Determination and will.
they've tired themselves out and broken their fists punching
Yeah.
him,
Well,
and
that's
he's not that much better than they are. But it's
yeah.
the I can do this all day kind of bluff.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because it's the
Yeah.
Steve Rogers was that before the serum.
Yes,
He
exactly.
was I'm still gonna take the ass kicking. I can do this all day.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember, like, man, some of the best scenes in the world in that movie are one, ironically, the cut scene at the the final credit scene where Cap, it's been 60
Mm-hmm.
years, like when he breaks through Avengers Mansion and he breaks through the
Yeah.
train and he signs up. That is so perfect. And his initial scene after he gets the serum in him and he's doing the cab chase.
And he's clearly
Oh
not used to the strength, and he's like so
man, so
clumsy. Oh.
but what made that movie even better is that I fell in love with Chris Evans as the Human Torch. I thought he
Mm-hmm.
was fantastic, Johnny
I did
Storm.
not think. I thought Chris
I
Evans as
thought,
Captain America was a dumb choice.
yeah, so did I. I
I
was like, there's
was,
no freaking way this guy
and
can pull it
the
off.
only reason I thought it was a dumb choice was because of how much I enjoyed him as Human Torch. And I
Yeah,
thought,
and then
right,
I enjoyed them both, and it's funny that
yeah,
he's coming back as Human Torch, but not Cap. He said he'll be back as Human Torch, but he won't be back as Cap.
I like that. Yeah, so
But as far as well, we got to go discuss the trilogy. And,
oh
give us a
yeah,
few more minutes.
yeah,
Captain America, the first Avenger, does what it's supposed to do. It's an origin
mhm.
story. They had to have all the origin stories for the major point heroes, and that's where Black Widow falls off too. She didn't get that origin story in that time frame prior to Avengers. It's very shoehorned afterwards. But
Like Black Widow as a movie needed to be made, but it should have been made before the
way
first
before.
event,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Like it
I
should
agree.
have come out before
Yeah,
Winter Soldier or
yeah,
before
agreed, agreed.
Civil War
But
or something like that. So
like I said, it wasn't that Hugo Weaving was a bad Red Skull.
no,
It's just that it was a period piece, and it was. It was a period piece, and it was beautiful. Like, there's a lot of good, like, and Peggy Carter is such a joy in that movie. Hell, even Tommy Lee Jones as the sergeant was a great, or the general was a great thing. But it just it was cookie cutter. It was an origin. There was never an end in peril because Cap has to get to the new world. Cap has to be in our current time.
yeah,
You knew very
exactly.
much there was nothing that could happen
It
that was
was
going to take him away.
agreed.
What makes Winter Soldier so spectacular is one, the Ed Brubaker story is one of my favorite runs in comics, period. And I didn't think that could be topped. The movie does it arguably better. They do it not just because you're watching it, but it's just a better, more fluid story, and I enjoyed it more. Um, but I love the Hydra story in the Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
It's what I always use the parallel that Winter Soldier is to the MCU as Dark Knight is to the DC movie universe. They're on par. Winter Soldier and Dark Knight, it helps that they came out similar time frames too, I think. But no, Winter Soldier came out like 2014. But Winter Soldier is as good as Dark Knight. It had the subject matter. It had a very serious tone. It was just good from the jump.
Hmm.
Usually sophomore movies are never better than the first ones, and this one was leaps and bounds.
I would. This is that's an argument for another day because I would dispute that.
I know because I
Of,
have a
of
couple up my sleeve,
yeah,
but
like off the top of my head, the Wolverine, X-Men 2,
X
Spider-Man
two
2,
X two is
right?
masterpiece
Like
too.
we just talked about Thor
Yeah, yeah.
Dark World.
I love Winter Soldier though so very much.
Yeah.
It is a movie that just actually it's virtually perfect. Again, I
It
just love
again,
the
like
movie.
it's Winter Soldier it's not ironically, it's not the best superhero movie because
No,
it's a fantastic spy movie. that
Yeah,
just
there
so
you go.
happens
That's
to
what it is.
have a superhero in it.
It's a Tom Clancy movie with Marvel superheroes.
Yes. Like you have amazing scenes where Cap's in the elevator and he twigs and
Oh, I love that scene. I can't believe
instantly
you just
what's
brought that
going
up.
on. And it's like, before anyone gets off, or before we do this, does
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
want to
Does
get off?
anyone want to get off? Yeah, yeah.
He knows he's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has full confidence he's gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And does exactly that. Like that he's so much stronger and more capable than they realize.
So good. And then when he fights Batroc the Leaper at the beginning, like I just fucking
Like
I know it was George
are
St.
you
Pierre, but I just loved it.
like, are you more than just a man with a shield? So he throws the shield
Oh
away and beats the shit out of.
God.
And you know that he's pulling his punches in that scene too, because again, like Cap he's super strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he peak human or is he beyond peak human?
I'd say he's
That's always
just
something that
I
it's
don't
always
know.
something
Like
I've never been sure of, because
no, because
sometimes these
Batman would be peak human.
yeah
Batman would be will and determination and pure training without any
yeah
alterations to
like
the
I
level
know
of a human. Cap is definitely a beyond peak human.
he's beyond peak, but he's not like Spider-Man level strength. So
No, 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 no.
either way, like Cap could break bones with his fist.
Yeah, he's
Um,
not OP.
no, but he obviously doesn't. So yeah, like Winter Soldier for me is,
One of my favorites.
if I had to put money on it, beyond, and again, I always say, like, other than the four Avengers movies, because just to
Mm-hmm.
discount those immediately, it's probably the best MCU movie that there
Sure,
is. Like,
I
and
agree.
I could make arguments for Black Panther. Um,
Yeah,
I could make arguments for others.
yeah. No, this
No Way
movie is so
Home,
good.
right? Like I can
No way
make
home. Yeah.
arguments for all of them, but Winter Soldier is just the best, I think. Again,
Well,
this is a conversation at the time. It's just phenomenal. Um,
that's what it is,
I
though. It's a Tom
yeah
Clancy movie as a Marvel
yeah
movie, and
I
it's just like Martin Scorsese The Dark Knight is Martin Scorsese with a Batman movie.
yeah yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
think that actually is why I ranked Civil War as the lowest, because it's an Avengers movie branded as a Captain America movie.
I get it. But I also think Civil War took
Now,
a
if
comic book series that was
oh one
very maligned, and I loved Civil War as the comic book series. I did. There's a lot of good beats in that show, in that book, but this does it so much more. It's so much more like cohesively, and just like it's not an initiative. They're just basically this is what's best, and they both believe in their hearts what's best. This is the movie where I don't know about you, but I sided with Tony Stark all the way in
I
the Civil War movie.
I again, like, I don't think what Stark was proposing was inherently wrong,
Right.
because we license people to drive. We license people to. I mean, different countries
To be
have different.
cops.
Yeah, you're licensed to be cops.
Yeah.
Some countries you need a full degree to be able to be a cop. You're
Right.
licensed to have a gun.
I agree.
Right. So, and I don't even think it's, oh, I need a license or I'm going to jail, or if I don't have a license, they're gonna, and if I register, then they're gonna make me do something I don't want to do. I think it's more a case of, hey, I have powers. I'm on the registry. I'm just going back to work at my job. Like
Yeah.
just because I can fly doesn't mean I actually want to
Right.
do
What this
like
movie
work.
did was it gave Cap a blemish on his record.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the comic book he was seen as the clean cut good guy.
Yeah.
His way was the right way.
I,
This was, you know, if he didn't know that Bucky murdered Tony's parents, you could side with Cap. You could
I
have him
and
be like he's blindly defending his friend.
the thing is that
But he
you
kept
can.
it from Tony. And
I
it's
think
up there with Superman spying on Lois.
I think that even then, like, he's two best friends. He doesn't want to hurt
I know.
Tony, right? Like, I think it's a case of he's got a really tough decision to
But
make,
one is murder.
but one is murder, and he made the wrong decision, because
Yeah.
he could have said, so hey, Tony, Bucky was mind controlled.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
pretty sure they made him kill your parents. I don't think he even knows he did it.
Yeah, yeah, right. That would have been
Like,
a better approach.
right, like, it's again, it goes back to so many issues that people have in movies and in most stories, because that's what
Yeah.
drives, conflict. It's just a lack of communication. And I don't always mean that they're not talking to each other well, but
No, I know what you're saying.
how many movies, if you'd have had a cell phone in it, could almost the entire plot be avoided? Or if you'd
Oh
had,
God, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
hey, if I
Every
tell
'80s
this,
movie.
yeah, like, hey, if I tell this guy why I'm doing this, maybe they'll let me, and then
Yeah,
maybe maybe this big issue won't happen. And I think that's what Civil War does. You're right. It gives Cap a blemish, and an
it
entirely
does.
understandable one just from so many people's point of view.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
we're watching it and seeing everything, and having seen what Cap went through with Bucky in the last movie, like, we recognize that he was mind controlled, that it wasn't Bucky's
Right,
fault,
right.
but Tony still needs to know and probably hear it from Cap that
Yeah, his best friend. Like, Happy's his best friend, but he needs to hear that. When he said, it's so powerful in that movie when he's like, "Did you know?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "Did you know?" And he's like, "Yes."
yeah,
That's where the problem is. It's not that
yeah,
Cap sides with Bucky. It's the
it's that
fact
he
that he didn't
didn't
even
tell
fucking
Tony.
tell Tony.
Yeah,
And I love when Tony just repulses him.
yeah,
Just boom. And then
and
takes the shield and shatters it and he goes, "You don't deserve this anymore." Like, oh
and
man.
and it's not only that, but then you've got Cap and Bucky fighting Tony. And honestly, for the most part, yes, obviously Tony's in armor, but he's still
Yeah.
holding his own for
Yeah.
a bit. Like, not
Yeah.
for long, because I don't think he would have been able to do it for long. But he doesn't he holds his own for a bit, and then Cap still says, no, 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 we're not killing him. He doesn't, like,
Yeah.
that's not happening. So, like, there's clearly some part of Bucky that's not fully
Right.
healed.
But the other thing is, you got to look at it as it's most likely the only Marvel movie without a serious villain throughout the
Yeah,
plot.
exactly.
And that's what makes it so spectacular is the fact that it's literally
The villain is the
difference in
afterthought. The
philosophies.
the only reason that Zemo is there is
Yeah,
to give Cap and Bucky something to do to try and stop,
exactly.
whilst, or like, right, like, so it's so that Cap doesn't have time to tell Tony and explain what's going on.
And even Zemo's not a villain.
Not really.
Zemo's entire fucking civilization was destroyed by the Avengers.
So of course he's going to try
And
and stop them.
yeah, he
It,
was pissed. Like
yeah.
anyone can identify with that motive.
Hmm.
So it's just I love the Captain America trilogy. I think it's so well done.
It
That
again.
even the fact that Captain America 1 is not my favorite movie, it's still far better than most of the movies that are on the list.
I would. I think this is one of those moments where, again, we're like, maybe we should redo our MCU ranking
Yeah, we
list
should.
thing, because we haven't done that in a while.
But
And
I also
obviously it
think we
changes, but
should wait off on our next one on this for a while because Deadpool 3 is coming out. And that's going to be a
that's
trilogy.
technically MCU. Well, yeah, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so I think that would be really cool. Because now we still have the Singer X-Men trilogy to
We
discuss,
have
the
Ant-Man.
MCU No Way Home,
Uh,
Ant-Man, um, Deadpool 1, 2, and 3 when they come out.
yeah. Now,
Correct
bear
me
in
what
mind
other
this.
ones are left.
No, not the I was going to say Fantastic Four, 'cause there's three of them,
No.
but they're not a thing. Um, there's more. I know there's more, and I'm sure people are screaming at us that we're
Yeah,
so
and
far off
that's
topic.
fine. And we would love, as always, put your
Yeah,
thoughts
let
below
us
and
know.
let us know.
Um,
But I liked this topic a lot. This was a breath of fresh air.
it it was so the initial I thought I had is totally not what we ended up doing,
No,
and I'm
no,
so happy that it didn't work
of
out.
course
So,
not.
um, yeah, I don't really have any final thoughts.
No, we did this longer
Yeah,
than you wanted to.
not
So,
even that. It's more just a case of I realize how tired I am, and I
yeah.
don't know if it's coming through. My throat's been sore for the last 20 or 30 minutes. So
It's not coming through. So
good.
you go rest your throat, bro.
Yeah, I think it's just like I've had allergies all day, and
Mhm.
just the scratchiness in the back of there has been killing me.
Yeah,
So,
go rest
um,
that throat.
I was going to tell you something, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. I have something to tell you. Well, before we sign off, we're just throwing this at the end. Um, I was texting in our jam session.
Mm,
Uh, SmackDown was fucking unbelievable from top to bottom. I mean, it was like they had a masterclass in booking over from Monday to Friday, and they realized what to do, and they put Drew over as an absolute bona fide badass. He beat the shit out of CM Punk in Chicago, but it wasn't even on air. It was like CM Punk came out and gave like the best promo he's given in years. Paul
yeah.
Heyman came out and tried to side with him, and it was great. And Punk left, and there was like an argument in the background between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano or someone. And all of a sudden, you see the garage door open up, and it's Drew McIntyre sitting there with completely bloody hands, and he's over
Oh,
Punk's body.
is are they back cleared for ring competition yet
Punk
or
is
no?
going to be cleared for SummerSlam,
Okay.
and he's over Punk's body, and Punk's bleeding everywhere. And then they go over to Drew McIntyre, and he shoves them away, and he fireman's carries CM Punk through the entire arena, and then he goes through Gorilla, comes out to the stage. The crowd is booing him unmercifully because he's in Chicago,
Yeah, of course.
and he kneels. He just fucking Fireman, he just drops him off his shoulders and lets CM Punk smack against the top of the stage.
Oh.
And then he kneels down and he does the it's clobbering time thing. But what he does is he grabs Punk's watch as he's laying down. He looks at his watch and he does like the circle on the ground. Oh my God. Drew McIntyre said no words through the entire segment. And he's the biggest heel in the company. It's so
Oh, it's glorious.
I
Um,
love Drew McIntyre. He doesn't get any of his due. Any of it.
I think I think it's coming. I think it's coming.
It is. It's very common. Because right now, they're the two most popular things in the company
And
without a title.
neither one of them has a belt, right? Which I think is what's so fantastic
Nope.
about that.
They don't need a belt. And I would argue that you cannot make this not be the main event of SummerSlam. I don't care that Cody's champ. I don't care that Damien's champ. You can arguably not make this not the that's a double, triple
This
negative.
has to be the main
But this
event.
has to be the main event of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Has to be. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up.
That is fair. I will look up the YouTube clips on that because it sounds interesting. And I will I'll let you know what I think. Yeah,
right.
so that being said, folks, you know where to find us. We'll be back. Oh, Terminator would be a good one to do as well at some point.
Yeah, I just thought of that. Yeah, but it's a 5 movie.
Yeah, but there's alternate timelines, and we can fudge it.
Oh, yeah, right. Because the first 3 are one timeline.
Yeah, and then you've got 1, 2, and 6. And anyway, that's
yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.